Hey guys, and welcome back to Pixel Cherry Ninja's channel. Now remember, on that Nintendo logo you just saw, as soon as you start Mario Kart, keep spamming that start button, because if you watch that logo all the way through, it crashes the game. But if you press start, it bypasses it and it gets you into this game. So I did a video a couple of days ago which had a look at the Nintendo 64 work in progress core by Robert Pipe, the developer currently working on it for the MiSTer FPGA. Now since then there's been another couple of updates, one on the 14th and another one today on the 17th, and we're having a look at that. Now if you remember the previous video I've done, the triangles might have been a bit bigger, they're a bit more tidied up, and at least the last time I played it I didn't notice like the triangles, the bananas, but maybe after playing it with a black square on screen I'm getting a little bit more used to it. But I wanted to have a look at it, and I also wanted to show you guys a little bit of a tutorial, because there are some new changes that are made and there's a way to kind of load core options that is getting more games to boot. So before we have a look at some more games, let's have a look at the core options. And one thing I want to warn you about is when you are testing this core, and some of the testing I'm doing, you're not always going to get visual. Sometimes you're only going to get the sound for the game. Sometimes you're going to get weird artifacts. We'll have a look at some of them. Don't expect to see fully blown games. In fact, the best game you're probably going to see on this is what you're seeing now, Mario Kart. But this core is moving along quick and fast. So many members of the community are actually testing this out, so make sure you check the link in the description of this video that will give you access to the Discord. And if you want to test this for yourself, I'll show you a tutorial of how you can get this current core up and running. And if you want to try future test builds, keep an eye on the Discord, keep an eye on the test builds, and you can be involved in the testing process too. Honestly, it's a lot of fun. Like, I did a few live streams, and some of the live streams were like 2.5 hours long, where a lot of you guys came in, you're involved, we were testing, we were talking, and it was a lot of fun. But I did want to put out another video, and anyway, let's get into the tutorial, and then we'll have a look at some games as broken as they may be in the current state. But before we get into that, have a look at the bananas. There's bananas there. Those are bananas on there, man. There's a lot of bananas out there, and they look like little warning triangles. So awesome stuff. Anyway, without further ado, let's look at the tutorial. So guys, in order to get this core up and running, the first thing you want to do is head over to the MiSTer FPGA Discord. If you're not already a member of the Discord, check the description of this video. There'll be an invite link in there. Like I always say, if you go over there using a link that I provided, be cool, be good, and respect everyone on the Discord, and follow the rules set out by moderators. They're there to make this an enjoyable place. And then also, where you want to grab the latest core from and the latest MiSTer is if you head over to test builds. So feeds and test builds, at least at the time of shooting this video, this is the latest one in there. Maybe by the time you're watching this, there might be some additional stuff added to it, but at least for now it's there. So let's go ahead and download these two files. So this is the code that we want, the N64 underscore cic.rbf. So here we go, we're going to download that and download this version of the MiSTer OS. Now I'm not sure if this is a variation on the stable or an unstable, but this is the one that you need in order to run the latest version. And also a member of the Discord, Vampire, I think that's how it said, they've been providing some really useful stuff. I'm just going to read this little post here from FPGA Spaz, aka Robert Pipe, because there's some useful information in here. So Robert says new test builds for MiSTer Main. Okay, so it is MiSTer Main. New test builds for MiSTer Main and core to be used combined. Big thanks to @Mark for implementing it. Main does now look up ROM settings from database. So that's it looks up the ROM settings from this database here that Vampire has provided and writes settings into the core. For now, only CIC type is evaluated. This leads to several games more being able to boot. So we're able to get into more games because of the settings that are being applied to the games when loaded, being loaded from this database. To make it work, replace your MiSTer Main. Okay, we're going to do that. I'll show you guys how to do that if you're unsure. Reboot MiSTer and place N64 database.txt in your N64 folder on the SD card. Okay, we'll have a look at that as well. When you load a game and you get no message on the screen, all is good and the ROM settings have been transferred to the core. Okay, so I never read stuff properly when I do it, and when I initially put this core on, use this version of the MiSTer OS, I was getting an error message, but as soon as I put this text file inside the N64 folder, I stopped getting the error message. So if you're getting the error message after doing this, it means you haven't got the text file. Once you've got the text file, you are good. But anyway, let's go ahead and do that. But before we do that, let's just let's click on this. Now there's different ways to save it, but what you can do is the way I've just loaded it up here, what we can do is once you're on this page, just right click it and save as. And once you save as, Robert said in his post, it needs to be called this. N64. So delete the first part, vampire.net N64, and just have N64-database.txt. Cool. Now that we've got those, we're almost ready to go. We're going to put those on our MiSTer, and once we've got those on, you will have the latest version of the core that you can test. Okay guys, so here we have my downloads folder on the left hand side, and on the right hand side I have my MiSTer micro SD card, the main root of the SD card. So let's go ahead and copy the MiSTer operating system that we've just downloaded. So let's go ahead, copy that, and let's just paste it in here. Now if you've already got your MiSTer in here and you want to revert back to it, just rename it, like, I don't know, MiSTer old, whatever you want to rename it. I've got a few on here that are old, so I'm just going to call this old 5 just for the sake of this video, but it's up to you, or you can just write over it. It's completely up to you. So let's just copy this, and we are going to paste it on the roots of our micro SD card. And that's it. So we've got, once that's on there, we've got the required MiSTer operating system on there. Now the Nintendo 64 CIC is gonna go into the console folder. Now I've already got that on there, but let's just copy that on there for the sake of the video. And it should ask me if we want to overwrite it, and I'm just going to say yeah, because I've got it on there, no harm in it. But here you go. If now we have got the Nintendo, we've got a core on there, we've got the correct operating system that we need. And the thing that Robert said in his post on Discord was we need to put this N64 database in the N64 folder. So if we head over to games and then we head over to N64, again I've got it in there already. Here we go. I'm just going to drag it, but it's going to copy it over. Again, ask to replace. Let's replace that in here. So guys, this file you're seeing here is the N64 BIOS. So when you're looking for it, search for an N64 PIF file. Once you find the BIOS file, rename it to boot.rom and place it in the N64 folder. Now, in regard to the games need to be .z64s. Currently, the core does not support other format of games like .n64, so make sure all your games are .z64. I've got a selection here. I've got the USA ROM set and a selection of Japanese games, so .z64. And guys, once you've got that, you've followed everything in this tutorial. You've got your BIOS in here, you've added the N64 database.txt, you've put the RBF in there, you've updated the MiSTer OS, put the memory card back in your MiSTer, and honestly, you're good to go. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Is Clay Fighters. I think it's called 63 1/3. Now this was interesting because we managed to get some of the graphics. Now I'm not too familiar with this game, maybe that's some of the background, but we've got the energy bars up there and I'm actually playing the game. I'm doing damage. You can hear moves there, you can hear special moves there, but this is the kind of experience you're gonna get. So if you want to test out the core now, you can report all this stuff and discuss it on the MiSTer Discord with like-minded people. But there's a lot of fun to be had in this. Maybe you'll find a game that works, like the Namco collection that Robert first showed off works. Mario Kart that we saw at the beginning works with those squares. Mario 64 works. Star Fox 64 works, but they all work with graphical glitches. So your mileage is going to definitely vary on this, but there is some laughs to be had. Anyway, this is Clay Fighter 63 1/3, and I'm doing a special. Okay, so here we are loading up Donkey Kong 64, and like I said, your mileage is going to vary. You're going to get mixed results, and it's just telling us it hasn't detected the expansion pack because, well, I don't have the expansion pack in my MiSTer. So this is actually the 4th N64 video I'm doing. 2 live streams, 1 video when initially the core was released on the 13th. And one thing that I learned was if Ubisoft or Some guys call it Ubisoft, whatever you call it. Whatever game of theirs I've tried, I kind of get into it. Initially we were just getting to the Ubisoft screen, and then we ended up getting into the game. So from when the game loaded, it's real time, and this is like the Donald Duck game on there, and it kind of gets you in game. It's got flashy lights, but it does eventually get into game. Let me just skip forward a little bit so we do actually get into the game, and you can see what it kind of looks like. Okay, so this is a whole kind of FMV or cutscene where they're talking, but let's get into some of the gameplay. Okay, so here I am. I'm actually moving Donald around. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm controlling Donald, and I'm in the game. And with a lot of the Ubisoft games, we are getting in the game, but we've only got a limited amount of graphics in here. Again, guys, like, test this stuff out for yourself. Let me know what games you've tried. Let me know what games you really played on the N64 and which ones you intend to play first once this core is released. And then you'll get things like that with the sound just going and bang, it's crashed. And something that we discovered during live streams was any games made by Konami, such as Mystical Ninja or the Legend of Goemon or the Mystical Ninja starring Goemon. Any Konami game always crashed on the Konami logo. Now I could get around this by spamming start, but then the Konami logo would not show up and it would just crash on a black screen. But this is the experience currently I'm having with all the Konami games. And guys, here's Batman Beyond. Now we don't really get many graphics, but we do get some sound from like the main option screen and like going through the menus and some options. Yeah, so this was the case with quite a lot of games. I was getting the sound, and yeah, the sound would either cut out or it would go, and I could move like the analog stick or the D-pad around, and I could hear that it was kind of going through the options. Here's a game many of you guys like mentioned during the live streams, and I know a lot of people like it, and that's Banjo-Kazooie. And just a word of warning, when you're testing this core, do not use headphones because you're going to get some really loud distorted sounds sometimes, like in the case of Banjo-Kazooie. And where we kind of got to somewhere and we got some kind of graphics coming up, what I like doing sometimes is just resetting it. And sometimes certain things work after a reset, sometimes they don't. So I'll reset Banjo-Kazooie to see, would we get something different, or would it just reproduce the same thing? And it reproduced pretty much the same thing, and it just kind of crashed at exactly the same part. So Banjo-Kazooie is a no-no for now. Here's a game called Automobili Lamborghini. To be honest, it's a game I've never heard of. I've not heard of this game, but it kind of boots up, the title screen comes and it goes in game, and once it kind of gets in game, you've only got one kind of shape. It almost looks like you're looking at the Knight Rider car in an extremely dark night, but it kind of goes into game and then it crashes. And this is the fun to be had with a core. You don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes you're only going to get sound. You mostly do get sound in quite a lot of the games, to be honest, when they do boot up. And then sometimes you get some graphics, it will go into game, it will crash somewhere, but when you do get into a game and you can play a little bit of it, there's quite a lot of fun to have. And there is a lot of fun in this testing. It's nice to see how far this core is going and how quickly it's moving. Okay, and finishing up with some Mario 64 now. I haven't noticed any differences with Mario 64, and if you do intend to run it, make sure you use the no face ROM hack, because the face at the beginning still crashes the MiSTer. So you need to launch the version of the game without Mario's face at the beginning. But this is running exactly as it was. Now someone over on the Discord actually completed the first level. They got through the first level and they beat the boss at the end, even with all the graphical glitches. I guess it goes to show when someone knows a game well, they really do know it well. But that's really it for this video, guys. I kind of wanted to show where we've gotten. There are some improvements in there, and there's a lot of members of the community testing stuff and just doing stuff to kind of get this core fully tested. And I really can't wait for more updates. Mario still doesn't have eyes, and hopefully in the future we will get some eyes. And definitely if you're interested about it, if you're interested in testing this out, then head over to the Discord, follow the tutorial. It's not difficult. You can have it up and running, and you can have some of this fun as well. Who knows, you might find a game that boots for you, and you can report it in there and everyone else can test it out. But that's really it, guys. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, and if you do like this kind of content, then a subscription and like is super appreciated. I'll see you guys around. This is Pixel Cherry Ninja out.